Well, it's pretty damn simple to make a leather wrap for your lever action. I actually had this left over from some of my leather chaps for motorcycle, which is over there on the right hand side, my bike. And the old bike, right? And this was cut off the bottom because they make them real long actually, so it's got a little extra leather. And what I got here is a sewing oil, Speedy Stitcher. You could sew through like 4 layers of leather, 5 layers of leather, whatever you want, because it's got a real heavy duty needle on it. So all I did was cut off a little sliver of the leather, and I sewed myself up a nice little leather wrap for my lever. And I'll tell you what, it is sweet. It is sweet because now I can feel the difference. You know, definitely way better. It feels better in your hand. Now it don't matter if you're shooting just a couple shots, but if you're shooting a lot, this does feel a lot better. By the way, I'm going to be changing out this scope on this thing too, because I hate this scope because I just don't like scopes on these rifles. And I had a couple silver ones cheap, got them on clearance sale, painted them black, and I'm going to get a Weaver 1x4 that's going to only go from here to here, and it's going to be, you know, it's not going to be wide on this side. It's going to be nice and compact. So, and I noticed like if you put it on around 1.4 to 1, that seems to be about perfect. 1.4 to 1.8, just below 2 powers, but not 1 power. That seems to be perfect. But if you put a scope on one, the Marlins are nice though, because you got your side ejection. Side ejection being it comes out right here. And the thing is though, you got to do though, you notice your hammer, if you go to cock the weapon and you got the scope in there, you'd have to try to get your thumb up underneath here, which you can do. So you got to put a little side thing on the side, a little extension on the hammer, which is for that. Anyway, you know, it's a great deal. I'm telling you what, glad I put that on there because it looks fine. Looks fine to me. And I think what I'm going to do too is when I get a replacement scope for this, I'm going to get quick detach rings. The 1x4 Weaver, that's only going to go from about here to here. So this sucker is about, that's a 12-inch scope on there. This one, the Weaver is going to be about 9. That's all it's going to be. It's basically like from here to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to put a little bit of leather on it too, or maybe some kind of leather shoelacing, and make some kind of fancy braiding on it, because somehow the scopes just don't go right with these rifles. The scope that's going to go on here in the future though is going to be much more compact, but I'm actually going to make some braiding or something, some kind of leather wrap to kind of jazz it up a little bit so it goes with that western look. Which I also use my M1 GI sling over here, which I made it so it doesn't make noise and rattle. This is just a little bit of leather shoelaces I've wrapped around here too. Pretty easy to make this stuff with. And if you want to make that leather buttstock, the one that goes around here, where you can put your shells, like 6 shells over here, you can make it really easy with this Speedy oil. All you need is a hunk of leather, just wrap it around there and sew it up, and or punch the leather and lace it. That's all. You can make them yourself. I don't understand why they're $95 to $165 for just a hunk of leather that goes around here. That's crazy. That's usually what I'm seeing them for. And I saw this was about, cheapest one I saw like this was like $20 with $6 shipping, and it took me about I don't know, literally 20 minutes just to make that. And right here I can make a couple more right out of that piece of leather right now if I wanted to, you know, so not a problem at all. So, and by the way, I do like the slings on the rifles, because even the levers, because when you put your hand up and around here, it's much more steady, puts you in a tripod position. Just want to mention something else too. There's another thing I like doing with these scopes too. This is you got the type of protect dust covers that you can see through. So you always got that quick shot. And without having a black dust covers, I always have the ones that you can see through, so you always got that quick shot. But this is a 4-power. 4-power is actually, you can utilize a 4-power with this, but basically you're best off with about I'd say a 1.5 power to 1.7 power, approximately around there. And you can look at and have it about a 5.5 inch eye relief. And that's basically how I'm going to set up the next one. It's going to be a Weaver 1x4 with quick detachable rings. So even if the scope broke, I still have the iron sights. I can pull it off anytime. And I'm going to jazz it up a little bit with some leather, just like I did over here. Just make something. Put a leather wrap around it. And it's not going to be silver. It's going to be black. So yeah. Guess these rifles can look pretty good with scopes if you freaking do it right. I don't like the way this looks, to tell you the truth. I hate it. I hate the way this looks, to tell you the truth. But it works okay. You can utilize this power, and I can tell you one thing: it is definitely worth putting this wrap around this lever, because it is much more comfortable to operate the weapon. Far more comfortable. So you know, for basically no cost. You don't need to be buying nothing. You can make anything you want for this with the leather wraps, as long as you got one of these Speedy Stitcher sewing awls. And you can use black thread or the tan thread. It's like a waxed thread. It's very strong. Can't break this with your hand for nothing.